Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the From the Stands podcast. We are back for episode number 51 of this here podcast. We're back for a very special Super Bowl episode this time. Got a couple buddies here in the house.
Yes, sir.
Boy, you want to bring them in?
Yes. Well, you guys know one of them, Jared. We had on. I don't even remember.
Months ago. It was during the NBA playoffs last
year. NBA playoffs last year. We had the Minnesota fan here. He brought us some stats of his Minnesota teams and the woes that they go through, unfortunately. But we got Jared back, and then we have first-time guest Peter Hicks. You've probably heard us talk about this guy a little bit. Kind of he doesn't listen to the pod, so we just rip him. Do you?
I do.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, we rip him to shreds every once in a while, but we got these guys on. Thank you guys for being here. This could be a fun one.
Yeah, thanks for having me back.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, we're gonna get into basically everything Super Bowl this one. We got two NFL fans here. We'll talk a little NBA at the end. Just huge news. We dropped an emergency pod last week about it, but we just want to get their thoughts. But yeah, Sammy Boy, take it away. Lead us into the first segment.
Yeah. Obviously, we'll get into the Super Bowl that's coming up here on Sunday. Obviously, we had a little bit of a break with Pro Bowl happenings and everything. I guess we'll get into that a little bit first. Talk about the demise of the Pro Bowl and how much it's fallen in the last few years. What do you guys think about the skill games and the other, I guess, competitions and things? I know the not just the skill games have kind of gone down in recent years, but also the competitions. Like Tyler Huntley's in there, Drake May, who's absolute garbage. We got some other guys in there that just don't really belong. So what do you guys think about that?
I didn't even watch it, to be honest.
You watch it?
I did. To be honest, I didn't even know it was on.
I didn't even realize they got rid of the Pro Bowl. I was just completely honest. I was like, wait, they don't have the Pro Bowl? It's just a flag football game now? What is this,
dude.
bro?
I did watch the quarterback accuracy one because
I saw clips.
I can't remember who went off. I can't even remember who went off, to be honest. But yeah, that's about the highlight of
who was it that was hitting like every single? Was it Darnold that was hitting every throw?
Darnold was doing good. I think Goff actually did.
Burrow did really good. Yeah.
I think
Russell Wilson was struggling.
Was he?
That was the clip I saw.
I saw Darnold was hitting like every single throw. I was like, why can't he do this in the playoffs? But
Russell Wilson did the skills throwing competition.
Why was he in there?
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably just lost millions of dollars.
But I was like, this dude's at the Pro Bowl. But is the skills like the Pro Bowl players, or is it just like they bring people that aren't Pro Bowlers?
No, I think it is Pro Bowlers. Like if
Russell Wilson was a Pro Bowler this year?
Yeah, dude. They have like reserves too. Like if
they have like 6 reserves.
Yeah, so it's probably reserves as well.
I didn't even think he had like
guys like Tyler Huntley get in there.
Thoughts? Did Russell Wilson have a Pro Bowl season? I don't think so.
Nah, dude.
Like,
no.
I mean, I wouldn't even say he led them to the playoffs because like he had like that good stretch right before divisional play, and then
he did have like a little revitalization of his of a little bit of like a spurt of the old Russell Wilson, but it wasn't
anything crazy. Yeah,
he had like a couple big gains in there, but he's so boring to watch.
It's
I was
awful.
like, can you please play field? Like,
I remember when he came into the league, and it was like this dude is like the new age quarterback. He was like one of the new age quarterbacks, like a mobile quarterback. Still could play from the pocket, but I don't know. I digress. I didn't watch any of it.
Russell Wilson replaced Josh Allen in the Pro Bowl games. So
why didn't Josh go? Is he still sulking?
I don't know. I guess.
Wait, he broke his hand, didn't he? Wasn't there reports that he broke his hand?
I don't think so.
I think I saw that.
Drake May replaced Lamar, so maybe it's just like a hey, I'm not going to go kind of thing. But
yeah,
who cares?
Yeah. Quickly though, I should probably allow them to talk about their fan a little bit. We have Peter's a Patriot fan, in case you guys couldn't tell by his jersey. And then Jared, as you guys remember, is a Minnesota fan. They root for them. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure last time Jared was on the pod, it was during the Western Conference Finals. And Jared, you want to tell us how that went?
It went how I thought it was going to go.
Weren't you guys up like 3-1?
Well,
we had
no,
we were up.
I think it was I think I was on with the Denver.
When the Denver ones,
yeah, just coming off the bye, we beat Denver. I was like, this is the year. Yeah. And then they started losing a couple games. I was like, oh yeah, this is the normal Minnesota. Never mind. And then you let a 300-pound man who looked like installs HVAC for a living.
Dude, for real. You let Jokic just have his way. Oh man, yeah, that was funny because I remember like we were all like really hyped for you because we were like, dude, Minnesota team doing well. But then right at the end of the pod, we were just like, But man, what if they fall apart?
Yeah.
What if they fall apart? And you didn't quite admit it, but you're just like,
Yeah,
I've seen it happen. So it
I
wouldn't
always
surprise me.
hold my cards to my chest, like this is probably what's gonna happen, but I'm just gonna ride the high as long as
Yeah.
we're here. So
So on one side of the couch, we have Jared, who all he knows is failure and loss.
Loyal to the soil, we respect it.
That's
here on the
right.
pod.
And then we have Peter, who just picks perennial
dude,
Just the
we've,
goat.
superstars.
we've
and,
had a rough 5 years. I don't want to hear
wow,
it.
rough five.
Okay.
He's had a whole
I've had a rough
lifetime.
26 years, bro. So
His
sorry.
favorite players are LeBron and Tom Brady. So
Yeah.
I think
Like
that speaks for
LeBron's
itself.
he has
LeBron's
to
lost
watch
a
his
lot.
teams rise, just straight up and then fall straight down. Like it's just I'm revenue right now. I don't know why. I think it's because I hopped on the Minnesota bandwagon. Like I loved watching Darnold do what he did, and then they got to the playoffs, and it
And
was
you
like
got to feel what it's like to be a Minnesota
I
fan.
did.
Like,
I feel every year with Pittsburgh being 500 or better, getting in the playoffs and losing in the first round. So, it's good. But
I will respect you though, bro. You're sticking with the Patriots now, at
Oh my
least
God.
now that they suck, so you can at least feel some pain. Because I remember in college, bro, you just would rub it in everyone's faces of,
right.
yeah. Honestly, it's a little embarrassing right now because we have so many Patriots fans that are just like gone, and they're like, well, we don't really
Where'd
watch.
they go?
They're all
I watch
Chiefs fans
I know
now.
guys down here that grew up in Boston, Massachusetts area, and I knew they were Patriots fans. They're like, I don't really watch it anymore. I'm like,
Yeah,
they're just a bunch
dog
of I know,
fans.
yeah.
They're
I
Chiefs
get on
fans
there
now.
and I go
Yeah.
into misery every Sunday
Yeah, dude.
afternoon, and it's
Alexis,
awful, he's now kind of rooting for Miami now because
bandwagoner.
there's a lot more
That's
talent
a
or whatever.
wide. Because they got
Team
Wiggins.
just
That's
switched.
why. Andrew Wiggins. Because they got Andrew Wiggins. That's why.
Oh, no, he's been
huge Andrew Wiggins
yeah,
fan.
yeah, for real.
Yeah. But anyways, we got a big game coming up this Super Bowl. We're gonna get into our picks right now. We're gonna kind of go around the room. We can start with Sammy. How do you see this game going down? And I know you've kind of gone with the Chiefs all year, but do you think the Eagles' best roster, kind of in the league at this point, obviously, think they can pull out a win?
I think on paper the Eagles probably have the better roster. But I'm gonna go with the Chiefs just because they have not lost a playoff
Interesting.
game in 3 years, and I think that's absolutely wild. I feel like we've kind of come to expect, like even when it doesn't make sense, the Chiefs find a way to win. They've played so many, especially in the playoffs, so many teams over the last 3 years that on paper we're supposed to beat them. Chiefs are down. X team has all the momentum, all the talent, all the this, all of that, but the Chiefs just find a way every time. So, I'll pick the Chiefs in the Super Bowl here. Three-peat, never happened before. Just because I think Mahomes and the Chiefs have that championship DNA. I could go into a little bit more if we want. I'm sure we'll get into that in a little bit. But yeah, for now, that's my pick.
For sure. Jared, who you got pulling out
Yeah,
the
I'm going
dub?
with the Chiefs right now. I think until it's proven otherwise, they're the best team to beat. The only time they've lost in the Super Bowl is to Tom Brady. So, and he's
That's
not in the
fact.
round anymore. So,
That's facts.
anybody's goat ready, it's the guy who faced the goat. So,
All right, Petey. Who do you think's gonna win? Not who you want to win, because we'll get into that a little later. But
yeah, I mean, if you're a betting person, you're not picking the Chiefs, then you're just not watching football at all. Just a mixture of who they are and their DNA, but also, I'm sure we'll get into this, but just the controversy as well as to all of these games that they have with these ridiculous calls and all these flags. If it's a close game in the fourth quarter, the Chiefs are going to win one way or another.
yeah, exactly.
So we'll talk about that. But yeah, my pick's the Chiefs. I think the Eagles could win. They just have to establish the run, and if they can get up,
Saquon's the key.
yeah, if they can get up, 14, 16, 20 points or so, 3 possession in the fourth quarter. But even if it's a 10-point game in the fourth quarter, they have to establish a lead. If it's a close game, it's going to go the Chiefs' way.
Yeah, definitely. I got the Chiefs winning as well. Again, if I was a betting man, I'd bet on the Chiefs. Obviously, don't want them to win. As weird as it sounds, I don't want Mahomes to be the GOAT. Like, I know it's not like a full conversation. It's not the end of the conversation if he wins, but it's just one step closer to that. And some people are putting him in that category if he wins this, but I'm definitely going with the Chiefs. But you brought up a good point, the matchup that we're going to get into. The Eagles have the better team on paper. Their defense is first in a lot of the categories, but there's just something about the Chiefs. But I don't know. I kind of wanted to hear from you guys. Anybody can take this after I'm done, but what do you think is going to be the key to stopping the Chiefs? Because like on paper, they're not like an explosive offense. They got Patrick Mahomes. Kelsey's not what he used to be. So like, what is the thing to beat them? You kind of alluded to it, Peter. Like you have to get up by a lot. Like you have to knock them out. You got to be up by 2 scores. Yeah, you got to be up by 2 scores in the fourth with like no time left. But anyone can take it from here.
Yeah,
Like,
I
what do you think the
I
matchups could be
think
like?
the battle is gonna come down in the trenches. Like I think he was alluding to it, but like yes, the Eagles need to set the run game. I think every team that has faced Steve Spagnuolo's defense has been flustered. Like
Yeah,
they bring the blitz, and every quarterback has not been able to diagnose it right
uh,
at the line.
right.
Um, so it's gonna really come down to, can Jalen Hurts diagnose the blitz and either get a quick read, or
Yeah,
can he in the O line hold up against that defensive line? So
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think, so many times you see teams when they face the Chiefs, especially in the playoffs, they go completely against their game plan, which I think some of it probably has to do with them just being flustered and just facing the Chiefs, period. But I think a lot of credit has to go to Steve Spagnuolo as well, and just how he gets those guys ready to play in the game plans that he draws up and everything. Definitely agree with you guys. I think if the Eagles can establish the run game early, that'll be a huge key to them, giving themselves a good chance to win this game. I think if Saquon doesn't get going on the ground, and I think that the Chiefs are probably the best defense that the Eagles have played in the playoffs so far. But if they can't get him going, Jalen Hurts is going to have to step up, which is something we haven't really seen. Like he throws for like 150 yards like every game, which is so weird to think about like in today's NFL. But they really just lean on their run game. So it'll be interesting to see if he's really able to elevate. He's got the weapons for sure, but yeah, we'll kind of see if he's able to elevate it if Saquon can't necessarily get going on the ground.
well,
So
like you were just saying too, like I don't like the Bills game. I don't understand why teams play the Chiefs and they just forget how they've been
yeah,
playing all
right,
season.
right.
last
Like
year was a perfect
like Josh
example.
Allen threw how many passes over 10 yards? Like maybe 4 or 5. Like
Right.
they let him be Josh Allen all season. And then even in that game, like they drew up running plays for him. That's not how Josh Allen succeeds. You put the ball decision in his hands. So you
Yeah.
let him throw the ball, and then if the run's there, he would take it. But yeah, if the Eagles, and I think that they see that, but if they come out trying to throw the ball a bunch with Jalen Hurts, I'm gonna be so annoyed because yeah, like you guys were saying, like if they can establish the run, because it's gonna wear down on the Chiefs defenders, and
Yeah.
then if they can get a 10-point lead, in that fourth quarter, those guys are gonna be so beat up on defense that they can just run the clock out and just run the ball down the field, which is kind of what they did against the Commanders a little bit in the second
Right,
half.
right.
Like that's the way that they just have to stay consistent with it.
Yeah, there would be no reason for them to go away from Saquon, who's averaging like 180 yards in the playoffs
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah, and that's gonna be huge. I think a big thing in this game, like it's a big thing in like most NFL games, but the possession, like the time of possession, like keeping Mahomes off the field. It kind of goes deeper than just having like a 2 score lead in the fourth quarter. It's like how many times like you need the ball more than Mahomes can because like you got to keep that guy off the field because they're going to score the ball and they're probably going to eat up clock too, which takes away from your chances of winning the game too. But
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
if the Eagles lose this game, they're gonna beat themselves. I mean, you've seen all the, on the field issues that they have, like AJ Brown and
yeah,
sideline for not getting the ball. I think if the Eagles lose and they're not running the ball, you're gonna see AJ Brown, maybe Devontae Smith getting really upset that they're
right.
not getting their touch, and then it's just gonna escalate to Jalen and then the whole team. So
Yeah,
as long
true.
as the Eagles can keep their composure, I think they have a fighting chance against this Chiefs team.
Yeah, that's kind of been the story all season though. Like the Eagles, again, on paper have the best roster, and everyone was saying like the only team that can beat the Eagles, kind of like the Ravens. Like the only team that can beat the Ravens are the Ravens themselves, and it's kind of the same thing. So I guess it will be interesting to see like if they can keep that. I guess it's on-field drama as well, but keep that drama at bay and just kind of like, hey, we're one win away from being world champions. Like, let's just put this aside. If Saquon runs for 300 yards and goes off and no one gets a touchdown, no one gets touches, like just be happy with winning the game. I don't know.
yeah, I feel like the Niners did a really good job of holding on to the ball a lot in the Super Bowl last year, and they came as close to beating them as we've ever seen the team, obviously, except for the Bucks in 2020 and beating. I feel like the Chiefs were just like never on the field in that game, really, just because obviously Shanahan likes to get 11 yards every single time, and so his drives take forever. But yeah, I definitely agree with you guys. If they can slow it down, obviously hold on to the ball a lot, rely on the run, that'll definitely be a good strategy for them for sure. And obviously, like I said, the Niners, they went to overtime against the Chiefs, and they had, I was going to say every opportunity to win, but obviously the Chiefs kind of.
I got an honest question here.
Yeah.
I hear people talk about this, and I am genuinely considering this. I might not watch the Super Bowl.
Oh,
stop
stop
it.
it.
Out of here. 100%
Yes,
not.
you are.
I might not.
Yes, you are.
Because listen, we all know, we just said it. We all know the Chiefs are why would you watch it and put yourself through it again? Because you know that it's gonna be a close game, and then the Chiefs are gonna pull out a win.
But do
you're
we
gonna
know
be sitting
that?
there screaming at your TV, and you're like, why do I do this to myself?
True, but I mean,
Because they're gonna do their satanic voodoo worship stuff, and they're gonna win. The refs are gonna come out for them.
Taylor Swift
It
is a
doesn't even matter.
Satanist.
It doesn't matter.
Facts.
They're gonna win.
It's
Roger
facts.
Goodell wants them to win, and they're gonna win.
Dude, I've been saying this all season. I truly believe that, yes, to get the benefit of the doubt, I wouldn't say the refs are giving them calls, but if there's any sort of if you could throw a flag, they're going to throw a flag because they're trying to let them win. Because this three-peat, and I heard Greeny, I love Greeny, but he was on the Pat McAfee show today, and he was saying yeah, he just threw out a number say the league makes $20 billion a year. The Chiefs winning, is that really going to move the needle on that? Maybe not, but people are greedy. Even if it makes an extra 10 million because of ratings or even more, like 100 million. If it makes $100 million more,
I mean, doing something that's never been done before too is gonna bringing
casuals to the game too.
Casuals and people talking about it and stuff, which is obviously good for the NFL.
So yeah, you can boycott the Super Bowl, but there's a bunch of people that aren't. Are you actually not gonna watch it?
I might not.
How?
So,
you're gonna watch. He's
I
gonna
might,
watch
you're
it.
gonna
because
watch.
you know who's
in the
gonna
comments. Tell us if Peter's gonna watch it. Or
I
not.
might. I seriously might not, because I know what's gonna happen. And as a Patriots fan who has been watching the Chiefs and get away with this for so long that people just people complain about the reffing. You guys talked about some of the things last game with the Bills game. There was a few other things. I didn't really care about the fourth down conversion. That was a 50-50 deal. What
and that
bothered
didn't
me,
decide the game. That didn't
what
decide
to me
the game.
was wild, was when on 3rd down and 5, when they threw a miss, or they threw an incomplete pass, and there was a flag on the field.
Yeah, and
the ref said, and the announcer said, "Oh, there's a flag on the field." And then we looked at it later, and they would have called defensive holding.
Yeah.
They have it in their pocket. It's a wild that it's gone this long, and that people the last Super Bowl, or the last time the Chiefs and the Eagles faced off in the Super Bowl, that ridiculous holding call that was called,
right.
Yeah,
I think it really is actually saying something, that there's actually legitimate discussion with the national
Oh,
media.
yeah.
There's definitely some. I mean, I've seen stats too of holding calls versus other teams.
Oh yeah.
The Chiefs, it's you can see it's exponentially higher than every team that they play against. So I don't know the exact number, but it is something that I think interesting. You always hear those stricken fans of, oh, we didn't win because of the refs. There's legitimate discussion this year, for the first time I've heard of, there could be a favorite team this year.
We talked about this last couple weeks, I guess, but it's not necessarily the volume either, because if you look at an entire game, you're like, okay, it seems like they've called the game at least pretty 50-50 or whatever, and you look at stats along a whole season or whatever, your stats, they're Josh Allen to get more roughing the pass, but always 3rd down, it's always
when Patrick
bail
Mahomes throws
him
an
out
interception
or whatever, or yeah, I mean, he doesn't do that very often, but
because it's called back. It doesn't stay in the stat.
Well, it just 3rd down, and I guess even when was the one that didn't bring it, he did 1st down.
Yeah.
And we started long, so it's oh, okay, we throw the flag here. So it's definitely, I feel like that has a lot to do with it as well.
You guys know about the theory that the NFL, it's an entertainment business.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's classified as entertainment. And I was looking up some more specific things about that. And it literally says sports entertainment is a type of spectacle that presents a competitive event that uses theatrical flourish.
Theoretical?
Yes. Flourish and extravagant presentation.
Yeah.
It's all a show.
Right.
And I'm not saying I don't believe the NFL is scripted or it's rigged.
Is that Tom Brady won his?
But the thing is, no, but Roger Goodell hated the Patriots. He literally made him sit out for a quarter of the season for
literally
For
nothing.
cheating?
No, not for cheating. No, for literally nothing he knew about. But anyways, my point is that I think that the refs definitely know what benefits the league, and they get that pressure from Roger Goodell. And there is definitely a stigma and a bias to put the Chiefs in these games to win games because it
True.
gets
Yeah.
views and it gets more eyes on the
Yeah.
NFL, and that's all they care about is money.
Yeah. No, I agree with you for sure.
If it's close,
If it's close, it's going their way. So
Exactly.
and that's why they've been in so many close games that they've won. And like,
Mhm.
yeah, it is down to like, I mean, Brady won close games too, just because like you're good in those situations. You've been there before. But I definitely, like Jared said, I think it's interesting to see that like in the national media there is a conversation going on. Like, this is a little sus. Yeah.
The
I
other
don't
thing
know.
that's just wild to me is that how does a $20 billion organization not have full-time officials? How is that still a
right.
thing?
Yeah, that's
MLB, the NBA have full-time referees.
And MLS, I'm pretty sure, right? Are they full time?
Probably. But
Like every
NFL,
league?
these guys have full-time jobs. They're working 40 hours a week somewhere else. And then they just come in on weekends and they just just official these
insane.
billion-dollar games where people are betting millions of dollars and the outcome matters quite a bit in the market and the economy.
Yeah.
It's like, no, this guy's actually a plumber. Like he
Yeah.
just comes on the weekends and officiates Patrick. Like it makes no sense that you can't have a full season of training. And if you look up the reason why, it's literally just money.
Yeah.
But
Like, that's what it
they
says.
do have training though. Like they do, like
Yeah.
maybe not as long as
Right.
like you're saying. Like
Yeah.
if it was a paid full time position, it's like, okay, in the off season, this is your job. All you're doing is
Yeah.
doing that.
Breaking down film. What did we
Right.
see here? What's the call? Like I watched a lot of football this year, but I was so sick of the pre-snap penalties this year.
Yeah,
It was
that was bad.
unwatchable.
They stopped. They
kinda
held
turned it
off
back.
on it. I remember in the
Yeah.
first game, there was like 4 of them. Like in the first like 2 drives, I'm just like, if this is how the NFL, it's gonna be unwatchable. And like kind of to your point, it was unwatchable. A lot of fans didn't like it. They're like, it's ruining the viewing experience, and they axed it. Like I didn't see many called after that. Like barely any after.
I saw
the
a few. It
first
probably
weeks.
depends on the crews, like what ref
Yeah.
crews. Because I did see some later in the season when it was like the Raiders and the Giants or whoever, and I'm like, this doesn't matter. Like, why are we calling all these pre-snap penalties?
My thing is not necessarily the refs, but the fact that it's a $20 billion organization and the fact that we're still having 2 old men trotting the field with a chain.
Chains, yeah.
And we have technology that's like you could clearly
Tennis has had it for decades.
define where the ball's going
Yeah,
to be.
soccer has goal line technology, like
Right.
down to like it doesn't even have to be like down to like 0.000. Like even if it's within like what, like an inch.
Yeah. And I'm not saying it's because of the Josh Allen thing, but it's like even this like last couple years, it's like the fact that we're letting somebody eyeball like where the spot is and then bring somebody else who's on the sideline to determine that length compared to where it started.
Also,
Absolutely.
I don't know how
Weird.
they like where they decide to spot the ball. Like there's like a 20-man pileup, and they just like tried to put it down somewhere, and then they bring out the paints. I'm like, how is that
yeah,
even
all
close to
objectives.
being like
Yeah,
an
yeah.
accurate spot? Like
I
don't.
think too, like it's weird. I don't know, maybe this is the training that they do. Like one of the line judges, they'll like obviously run to where they think the spot. They'll always move it a spot like a football length back because they never account for when the knee hits the ground. And so every time I watch them like out into the field, they always take the ball where they were at. They're like move it back just a little bit because it's probably right here. It's always like a guessing game. And like if we're
It's
talking
never
about
exact, yeah.
inches, like the fact of the game, like the Josh Allen thing,
Yeah.
like that could be a big turning point.
Yeah.
Well, I think you guys talked about it last time on your podcast, but like in that Josh Allen play, like the referee on the top had the first down.
Yeah.
Like when they were coming, the referee on the top he clearly had him going, and then the referee in the bottom. And my dad was actually telling me today, he's like, I think he said something about you're supposed to hand the ball to a certain official, and Josh Allen or whoever handed the ball to like the wrong official, like,
one,
he was
yeah.
supposed to hand it of. But it's like how are they like a whole yard off where it's like, it just the whole. I agree with Jared on that point with like there's something about, I think, that old men just like watching these old men just walk out with these chains, and it's like, this is football.
This is
like,
football.
Like
This is the way
Back
it's
to the
been.
tradition.
and it's like, I
tradition,
get that, and it's I don't know, but it would be nice for these situations where it's like you would just take away that.
Yeah.
A certain.
But you also
no.
have the flip side because, like in soccer, for example, there's all this uproar right now about like the game becoming too. What was it?
Like video assisted.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Too video
Where it's slowing
assisted,
the
too
game down.
technological. Where like after every goal now you have to like wait like 5 minutes. Like, is it offside? Is
right.
that not? We're gonna wait for the video review. Now he has to go
Yeah.
and check it.
Well, it's the same thing. It's happening in college basketball too, with like the flagrant foul. Like I hear people talk all the time. They're just like, literally stopping the game again to check this play that everyone knows
in
isn't
video
this.
assist already takes way too long in the NFL
Yeah,
anyway.
it takes too long. So
That
like,
doesn't even work.
Yeah, it doesn't even work. And the
True.
times that
That's
they're
a
allowed
complete
to
pass,
buzz
even though the ball
down
touched
is
the
like
ground.
Yeah,
extremely grayed
Facts.
out. Like,
Facts.
oh,
hike the ball,
we're,
hike the ball.
we're within 3 minutes. We can't do it here. But like, oh, his knee was down like play before that. So we can't do it there either. I'm like,
Yeah, but kind of getting back to Peter's like original point, like not like why he's not watching the game. I guess the reason I'm watching the game is because this reminds me of like, and you're gonna hate this memory, but 2018 when the Eagles beat the Patriots and kind of like stopped that dynasty in its tracks too. Like that's what I'm watching for, and I think the Eagles legitimately have a good chance because of how they play. Because like we've seen, like I mean, last year the 49ers great roster, like probably the best in the NFL that year. You know, Eagles same, but just the way they play, like old school football. We're gonna beat you up on defense. We're gonna beat you up on offense, and it's just I don't know. I just have more hope about it, but I had hope for the Bills too. I mean, we saw how that happened. I just want to get your guys' thoughts. This guy's kind of been going around a little bit, but Jalen Carter, like, is a absolute game record. And I actually like I don't watch the Eagles all that much, but like the past few weeks in the playoffs, he kind of ended the game against the Rams. Like this dude is an animal. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on him. Like kind of what Jared was saying. Game's gonna be one in the trenches. Like keeping him away from Patrick Mahomes is gonna be a big deal for the
Yeah,
Chiefs.
I mean, you got to give the Eagles front office like tons of credit because
Yeah.
everybody when he was dropping down the leaderboard,
why was he dropping?
I mean,
Wait, I actually don't know
Anyways.
why.
because there's like some speculation of in college things.
Oh,
Okay.
tough. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha. All
I
right.
don't know.
keep
I don't
going.
know. I'm not. I didn't draft him. Okay. He's a boat.
Bad
But
person, good football player. All
Yeah,
right, got
exactly.
it.
not quite Justin Tucker or this. I don't know.
Oh, whoa,
But,
whoa.
Okay,
anyways,
shots.
Uh,
Anyways, yeah.
but no, he's a beast, dude. Like you got to give the Eagles credit. They trusted him, they believed in him, and he's paying dividends right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he reminds me a lot of Aaron Donald of just disrupting that front line right off the jump. So
Right. Yeah, he plays more interior though, right? Aaron
Yeah.
Donald was more
Yeah,
Or
and
outs,
that's-
rusher.
but
that's
just
the
that
Chiefs'
feel of like,
strengths.
man, this guy, like you got to put the bodies on this guy because
Yeah.
he just plows through everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting to see how the Chiefs like deal with all the guys that the Eagles have up front on defense. Like obviously they have multiple guys that can rush, but the Chiefs' best linemen are inside guys, and I know that they moved. I think it was Joe Tooney out the left tackle in the playoffs, but if you got Jalen Carter, taking up 3 blockers, it'll be interesting to see how they rush on the outside against some of their quote unquote weaker offensive linemen. They got that that guy that always falls apart
Every time.
Juwan Taylor. We'll see how he fares against that line for sure. So, yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I think how the Chiefs play though, what worries me is it kind of how the Eagles play defense plays into the hands of the Chiefs because they play zone defense, but they play over the top. And so it leaves the middle of the field in these short passes, which is what the Chiefs live off of right now. Because they don't really have a go-to. I mean,
Mahomes never throws the ball more
Xavier
than 20
Worthy,
yards
like
now.
every once in a while, if they're trying to take the top off the defense, but most of the time it's like these short yard passes to like Travis Kelce, which I think he might end up having a good game, unfortunately. But I don't know. How do you guys see that matchup going? Because like it's kind of like the perfect defense for the Chiefs to play against because they don't play a whole lot of man-to-man. They can get a lot of stuff down the middle of the field and just kind of reminiscent of the old Patriots, like just pull you apart with Gronk and Julian Edelman down the middle, and then once you're in the red zone, like.
Yeah, I think it's really for the Eagles, like you guys were mentioning Jalen Carter. I think that Andy Reid and the Chiefs are going to be smart. I think they're going to scheme up something to try to get
Reid
him out of
always
the game.
does. Yeah.
And so I think if you're the Eagles, you have to plan for that. And when I think back at like the Super Bowls that we lost and how we played, especially the Giants one, it was really when they were able to get pressure on Brady. And that's like the thing. It's the same thing is they have to get sacked, they have to get pressures and rushes on Mahomes. They can't let him sit in the pocket and just make these throws because he gets the ball out quick with these short passes. He's holding the ball for 2 seconds. But if you can make him uncomfortable, make him hesitate, make him not sure about that pass, they're going to have to get pressure on him. And that's really the only way that you can stop him, because if Mahomes has time, it's going to be over.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about with the short passes is like having these progressions where it's like 1, 2, and it's gone. Like, is it really like? I mean, Jalen Carter's a beast, but it still takes some time to get to the quarterback. Like, are we going to be able to make Mahomes hold the ball long enough to get to him? That's what I'm worried about with like how the Eagles play defense opposed to how the Chiefs play offense. So it's just definitely going to be interesting to see this coming Sunday. You got any thoughts on the defense and the Chiefs offense?
Not too much. I mean, if they're able to get consistent pressure on Mahomes, I think that is going to be huge as well. In the one Super Bowl that Mahomes did lose, that was a huge part of it. I feel like it almost borderline ruined the game because it felt like it would. Like, I was actually really excited for that Super Bowl, obviously before everybody hated the Chiefs, but it was like Mahomes and Brady. But he spent like the whole game just running for his life, and I feel like it kind of ruined the game at the time.
Right.
But obviously, it was it was the formula to beating that Chiefs team, that high performing Chiefs team at the time. So if they're able to get some pressure on him and make him run around a lot more than he's used to, and try to make him throw on the run, I feel like that could definitely help out as well. But like you were kind of saying earlier, they're not really that kind of team. They get a lot of pressure to the quarterback, but that's not really their DNA to make him run around and scramble and everything. So it'll just be interesting kind of to see what game plan each team is going to go with, and we've had 2 weeks to think about it. Obviously, we know Andy Reid. There's almost nobody better coming off a bye week than him.
That's facts.
The Eagles, obviously they're stacked at almost every position.
What's the stat on that? Like, what is like 20?
Crazy.
It's like 20 plus wins to like 3 losses or something like that.
Yeah, it's
Coming
going
off a
back to
bye.
his Eagles days where he was just stupid good coming off a bye. So
Yeah, those Eagle days for sure. I forget that he coached the Eagles. Like, he's been with the
all-time
Chiefs
winningest coach for the Eagles and the Chiefs
for both teams, which is nuts. But yeah, 3 out of 4 of us will be watching the Super Bowl apparently.
Jared, will you be watching?
Oh, for sure, dude. Like,
Gotta hurt their pockets, man. We gotta hurt their pockets.
See,
or
this
they're
is
just gonna keep
okay.
going.
This
Yeah.
is a side. This is a side debate that I get into with some people, because some people are just like, "Oh yeah, I'm boycotting this, that, and the other." I'm just like,
See, the thing
does
is,
it
even
really matter to
even
them?
if diehard NFL fans are not going to be watching, way more people that never watched the NFL ever are going to be watching.
Yeah.
So,
Like, if
really
it's
make
the
a
third quarter
hard
and the
games
Eagles
are-
are by like 21, I'll turn it on. Probably. That's probably what'll happen. I'll be like, oh, cool. This is
in the
cool.
third, it ain't
Yeah,
it ain't done by that.
But how's he gonna know? Because he's gonna have it
No,
on
I'll
his
keep,
phone right there.
I'll keep up on the score, but I'm not gonna.
The
not gonna
third
do
quarter
that.
is still too early, dude. Like, there's still plenty of time,
Yeah.
man. You got to
I'll
be like,
turn it
the
on.
you know
opposite.
what he's gonna say? He's like, I had it on in the background, and
Yeah.
I was watching it. And I
No,
was
do
like,
you know what we have to do? We gotta ask Bren. We
Yeah,
gotta all
that's-
text Bren and be like,
do it.
you got the game on?
That's right.
Oh, but regardless of
Crazy.
if you watch the game, this is the juicy topic that's been going around.
Blasphemous thing that you sent us
This
today.
is definitely the blasphemous thing that I sent
You
you,
sold me.
and this is why I put it in, and you're already reacting how I wanted you to react.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
spent
great.
time on clicks.
You spent time on this? Perfect. Let's get into it. All right. We're going to pose a question. We'll give it to Peter first. We'll let him go.
Oh boy.
We'll let him go.
I kind of want to hear what everybody else
Okay,
thoughts
all
are
right,
first,
all right.
honestly.
All right.
I do. I'm curious.
I feel like we should let him go.
What will
Wait,
we vote?
what's the even question?
All
Yeah.
right, all right.
Make sure we're on the same page. Let's talk about the Vikings here.
All right. We'll start with
Cardinals?
Sam. We'll start with Sam, Jared, me.
Why
and
did
then-
you start with me?
Because you have
No, we
great
have to start
thoughts.
with the Patriots first.
All right.
I'll go.
Okay, we're going to start with the Patriots
Yeah.
fan.
How's the question?
I'm trying.
Oh, okay. Well, you
Shut
said you were
up.
gonna go with me. I was like, you haven't even said it yet.
Well, I was
Riveting
gonna-
content.
Well, I was gonna go with Jared, but then Jared's like, "Oh, I don't know what we're talking about." So then I was like, "All right, well, I'm not gonna go because I'm gonna pose the question. So I gotta give the question to someone.
Gotcha.
We're not going. So
We've been talking about this question for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
yeah, we're okay. Anyways, here's the question. Everyone probably knows it, other than Jared.
I looked at the notes.
Will Mahomes be the GOAT if he wins this Super Bowl? Peter, go.
All right. I've got 4 points that will
Look at his
prove
hat,
my
dude.
point.
We don't even have to ask him
All right.
question.
Number 1, this is just a mathematical question. Is the number 7 greater than 4?
So number 7
No,
greater than 4.
Last I checked it. So
Context.
Tom Brady has 7 Super Bowls.
This new math, I'm not really sure.
Patrick
you
Mahomes
know?
would have 4.
This
All right,
math.
I could say it.
He's
All right.
young. He could have time. It could eventually, if he had 10 Super Bowls, obviously, it would be
Right.
a different conversation.
He might.
But anyways, that's my first one. That's
All right.
it's pretty straightforward, but also weak. This is where we get into things. I was thinking about this, and I thought that you were going to take the Patrick Mahomes side of things a little bit more. Either some of you, we'll find out. But I just figured I would let's do a blind resume. Let's just ask a couple questions here.
All right, ask away. Let's see.
Stallone, we'll go right down the line. Stallone,
Perfect.
if you're going into a Super Bowl, would you rather
Getting
have your
nervous.
quarterback have the stat line of quarterback 1, 354 yards, 3 touchdowns on a pick, or 286 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions? Would you have the quarterback 1 or quarterback 2?
2. No, I'm kidding. 1.
All right. Well, yeah, quarterback 1.
Quarterback
It's
one.
Tom Brady. That was Tom Brady versus Patrick Mahomes in their first Super Bowl that they started.
All
All
right.
right. So let's say another blind resume. Sam, would you rather have quarterback 1, 505 passing yards and 3 touchdowns, or would you rather have quarterback 2 with 333 yards, 2 touchdowns, and interception?
1.
Right. And that's actually the Super Bowl that the Patriots lost against the Eagles in 2017, where Brady had over 500 passing yards. Quarterback 2 is obviously exactly. Also, Patrick Mahomes was obviously quarterback 2, and that's the only Super Bowl that he has ever had over 300 passing yards in a Super Bowl, which is, I thought, another pretty interesting stat. Pretty pathetic. And then, secondly, Jared, I have one, just a couple more here. Would you rather have quarterback 1 with 328 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, and 2 picks, or quarterback 2 with 182 yards and 3 touchdowns?
Of course, second one.
Yeah.
Also,
The 2 picks really kind of.
Yeah.
So there's another one. And then I just have one more that's quite interesting. Would you rather have quarterback 1, 373 yards, 3 touchdowns, a pick, or 270 yards for quarterback 2, 0 touchdowns, 2 picks? Obviously, quarterback 1.
Yeah.
That one's actually Nick Foles in the Super Bowl that they beat the Patriots. And the second one was Patrick Mahomes Super Bowl that he lost to Tom Brady. So that was
Interesting.
interesting that you were talking about that, how like he couldn't really do much. That was one of his best Super Bowls as far as stats. He had 270 passing yards. So for me, it's just individual performances of the playoffs and the Super Bowl. I personally have so many distinct memories of passes and throws and plays that Tom Brady made in big moments.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of those.
That's true.
I remember.
But Tom Brady
Yeah,
also played 20 plus years. This is Patrick's 7th year in the league.
Yeah,
8th, technically.
But how many? I mean, Patrick Mahomes has been in how many AFC Championship games and how many
7?
Super Bowls? You know, so it's like you should have memories that just pop up of like I remember when he made that big play. I've got maybe 2. You know, and I mean I watched them all, but I mean Tom Brady, I can remember so many plays
Because you're
just
always
big
trying to
plays.
like denigrate Mahomes. You're like, and he could do a 360 no scope 80-yard touchdown pass and be like that's
I do
that's
that
not
on
Tom
Madden.
Brady.
Yeah,
Like,
all the time. So that's my second point. Was I think the individual Super Bowl performances. I think a lot of it. People talk about Belichick and the coaching. I think that was a big part of it. I think that Patrick Mahomes has benefited from good coaching from Andy Reid significantly more. Tom Brady shows up in the big moments. And that leads me into my third point, which is the simple number of 28-3. I mean, that to me solidified like an unbelievable comeback. I remember watching that game as a senior in high school at my house. I was sitting there. I didn't want to go to any Super Bowl parties. I sat there. All my friends were texting me in the first half, like, "Oh, Patriots suck." I literally threw my phone across the living room floor because I was like, "I'm not looking at this." And then I just sat there, and I was like, the whole second half, and I was like, "This is insane." And then I'm almost done here. Sorry, this has been a rant here. But number 4. Oh, number 4. I have never in my entire life seen Tom Brady start to run out of bounds. And then
because he couldn't run.
He goes out of bounds, there's 2 players coming to push him out of bounds, and he just completely stops in bounds to let the 2 players have to force him out of bounds and then flop 10 yards out of bounds. What Patrick Mahomes did to the Houston Texans, or what he attempted to do in that game, was the most disgusting football play. I'm like, dude, this guy should be in the NBA.
Now you know how we feel about
what
LeBron.
Are we watching?
Now we know.
I get it. LeBron flopped.
Dude,
I'm not arguing that. But the Patrick Mahomes, that flop, like Tom Brady played in a different era where you could take a quarterback head off.
Yeah, that's true.
And Patrick Mahomes
The
is
first
literally
half,
baiting players to push
his
him.
advantage. Yeah,
And it was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. And I get people will probably be like, "Oh, if Tom Brady did that, you'd be like, oh, he's playing smart, like he's trying to get a flag." I get that, but like you're already getting so many ridiculous calls that everybody knows.
Like everybody does that now. Like Josh Allen does it every game.
But what they do, but they don't. What he did different was he like literally stopped running out of bounds.
That's
like
true.
most guys will run and get close, and then they'll try to get pushed right as they step
I
out of bounds.
agree. I
and
think
then
it's
flop and
get
get pushed over. But
that is ridiculous.
He literally just like threw his arms up. I was like,
that was one of his worst flops.
I literally turned the game off. I turned the game off. I was like, this is a disgrace to football.
It is. I agree with that. I
Yeah.
agree with that.
So that's kind of my rant there on the greatness of Tom Brady and compared to Patrick Mahomes. I think Patrick Mahomes is just a weenie as well.
Yeah.
But anyways,
bet,
I'm
I bet.
curious to hear what you guys have to say.
What do you think? Who would like to go first?
Yeah, I'll just say I mean what Patrick Mahomes is doing though, even though he's so young, I think kind of what Stallone was kind of alluding to. He's got his whole career. He can, he can have that Tom Brady longevity and be like, crazy good, bunch of Super Bowls. But right now, like this one itself will not make him the GOAT in my opinion. Although no one has ever three-peated, so it's like that's going to be pretty significant on the resume for me.
Some points right there.
Yeah, you
for
definitely
sure.
get some points, whether or not you think it's legitimate or not. I still think Brady's still the GOAT. Until he at least matches or passes him, then we can start having that discussion. I think the national media tends to try to put these narratives out front, so it brings in views, brings in discussion. But right now, Mahomes has still got a little bit to go before he's.
Just a quick reminder that Tom Brady has more Super Bowls than any NFL franchise, right? So
this is true. This is true.
Just a reminder.
Sammy boy?
Yeah, I'll agree with the two gentlemen to my left. I'll also say no.
Well,
There's no.
I thought you guys were going to
no
come
hot
after
takes.
me, but
Oh, we
wait,
will.
wait,
Don't worry.
Yeah, I got a little something.
We're setting the floor.
all right.
Yeah, so I'll say no as well. I think this question is so dumb. Like Mahomes is halfway through his career, like you said earlier. Brady has an entire career, not just an entire career. He has a career that lasted longer than basically any other player that's ever played. So obviously that's going to get him points in the GOAT discussion as well. But like he played so many seasons, and to compare Brady's 20 whatever, how many seasons did he play? Doesn't even matter.
Yeah, I can't.
24
remember.
seasons, let's call it 5
So it's
seasons in the
47.
NFL. Mahomes, what is it, 8? Technically 7th as a starter.
Yeah.
I just think it's a little unfair to really both players. It's just I think like it's a dumb debate, like Jared was talking about. Like it's good for ratings, it's good for TV shows and stuff. But I definitely think he's on pace though to at least challenge him once he decides to hang it up. He's only 29 years old. I think like I saw something this past week, and we obviously touched on the Super Bowl. They lost to Brady directly, and Mahomes actually mentioned it earlier this week. It's like which loss hurts the most, and he said by far the Bucks lost in the Super Bowl, and like if he would have won that, like so that he wins the weekend, like he would have 5 Super Bowls, and Brady would only have. So like that would be a huge like we would have obviously this is already a question that everybody talks about. Like they'd be talking about that even more this week than they already are. But do I think that he's on pace? Yeah. I mean, if you just look at the stats side by side, like even the playoff and the Super Bowl stats, like through the first like 7, 8 seasons, Mahomes has him, at least, equal, if not beat in his first 7 seasons for sure. And Tom Brady after I think he made it for Super Bowl his 7th year as well. And then after that, he like years off. So like Mahomes can theoretically take the next 5, 6 years off and still kind of be on pace to what Brady did. Like he's going to have to obviously have a heck of a second career like Brady did. But if they're going to keep on winning and do things like he's never been to never not been to an AFC Championship game, so like nothing's really going to show that they're not going to keep on winning, especially with them and with the refs, let's say. Oh, but yeah, like I said, like I definitely think he's on pace to at least make a case for it, and I think if he wins this weekend, he'll definitely get closer. But yeah, like I said, I'll agree with these guys and say that he definitely will not be there, even if he does win this weekend. Only get him to 4. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. What I always point to is just the way Patrick Mahomes came onto the scene. And this is coming from like I'm not a Patrick Mahomes fan, not a Brady fan either. I did not like the guy at all. Maybe I just hate people that win, obviously. But no, a few stats here. I mean, by 28, Patrick Mahomes has more playoff wins, 14-10. Has more Super Bowl appearances. Tom Brady has one more Super Bowl than him. One more. And they both have 2 Super Bowl MVPs.
Through what?
Through age 28. Age 28, starting their career off. In my opinion, a lot of people say Tom Brady's still the GOAT, but Mahomes is the best quarterback to ever touch the league, which I agree with. This is where I will agree with you, Peter. And you were probably thinking we were all gonna. Again, I'm not a Patrick Mahomes fan, I'm not a Tom Brady fan. But what is lacking in the LeBron and Michael Jordan debate? They never played each other. Right. Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes did, and Brady beat him twice, once in a Super Bowl. He has the head-to-head.
Super Bowl, like, I
But
hate
it's
when
the
people.
Super Bowl.
I know, but like, he didn't like watch that Super Bowl bracket, bro. Like, he didn't have. Whatever.
It's weird. I agree with Stallone. Like, it's a head-to-head matchup. My dad even mentioned this to me today.
Like, that's the
but
ultimate.
I guess I don't really hold that in as much because he was so young.
Yeah.
But then my dad was like,
like,
"Well, Brady was so old," and I was
Yeah.
like, "I mean, that's true."
Yeah, and that's where the
I just
longevity.
feel like Brady had such a better team. Like, he kind of was able to go down to Tampa and like just get whoever he wanted and kind of stack his team. Whereas the Chiefs, like, yeah, they had pieces. Like I said, that whole team just like running for his life, and like it wasn't. I don't know. I just don't watch that Super Bowl and be like, oh, this is like battle of two like bulls, like whatever. Like Brady got the better of him. Like, I'll give him the championship that he beat him in. That was a great. I'll give Brady that. For, but that Super Bowl, just I don't know. I just don't feel like it was completely fair to be like, oh, Mahomes lost that.
Yeah, but then
I understand people are going to take that.
But then we're nitpicking the debate, and that's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to just say like the reason we can debate Michael Jordan and LeBron James till we're all dead is because they never played head to head. So we're basing it on like, oh, this era, that era. These eras crossed. And that's what happened. Tom Brady came out on top.
But at the same time, like, yeah, Michael Jordan and LeBron didn't play each other. Like in basketball, you can actually go one-on-one. Whereas, like,
why are we fighting?
I don't know. Like Mahomes and Brady, like they can't go one-on-one. Like their teams can.
Here's
but,
more
like,
of a question I guess I would ask post you guys. If it's 2 minutes left and you have to go 80 yards and score a touchdown at the end of the game, who would you rather have in the pocket, Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady? Like, who is better at throwing the football?
See, that's where, but that's where your question like falls apart because you're set in like a certain set of circumstances, like. Yeah, from
like,
the
why does that decide who's the GOAT?
Well, no,
I'm not saying from the pocket. I'm just saying they have to make an
Patrick
80-yard
Mahomes.
drive.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Patrick Mahomes.
I would rather have Patrick Mahomes just based on his talent and ability and being able to stretch.
Oh, what
plays with his
specifically?
leg.
So that's what it's different. Is that he's better?
Oh, yeah.
At
But you're
stretching
trying
the
to
play.
say that Mahomes isn't clutch, and I feel like everyone knows that
I'm not saying
Mahomes is
Mahomes.
clutch.
I'm saying as a Patriots fan watching Brady, what he did, like I think Brady is a much better passer of the football than Mahomes is.
Yeah.
Mahomes is more. He's more agile. He moves in the pocket better. That's not a debate.
I'd
I
agree
mean,
with
Tom
that,
Brady's
yeah.
he doesn't have that. But I just look at it as I think that to me it's also the drive of Tom Brady. Like Patrick Mahomes doesn't honestly seem to have that drive. I mean, Tom Brady loved football so much that he was willing to divorce his like millionaire Brazilian model wife to play one more year of football at 45. You know what I'm saying? Like he just was obsessed with football, and that's all he thought about and all he wanted to do. And Patrick Mahomes is kind of nothing against Patrick Mahomes, but he just doesn't seem to be quite on that level that Brady was, where he just like was obsessed. And so
I know he's
to me,
obsessed winning.
Yeah, and
he hates losing.
And I was
that.
gonna bring that up. Like, what is the ultimate stat that matters? Is winning. And there is a hole in that argument. And this is what I will say: is even at age 28, Tom Brady had more Super Bowls, and Tom Brady currently has more Super Bowls. Back to your 7-4 argument. But here's the thing: Mahomes, kind of like what you said, he could take 10 years off, which is I think what happened to Tom Brady. It was like literally 10 years.
Like 07 to 15.
Yeah,
that's what some people aren't also accounting for is when you play that long, your team has to rebuild, and the Chiefs are going to have to. They did the right move with Tyreek Hill, but they're going to lose Kelsey soon, and they're going to lose some defense. So like they're going to have to rebuild the roster. I think it's just unlikely that they're going to continue to win like this. It's possible, but like that's just how the NFL works.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the Chiefs front office is pretty good.
It is.
Like,
it is.
But
everyone thought they were going to rebuild last year, and look where they are now. Like,
but that's the thing. That's the thing I'm going to say, and it's kind of why we're talking. It's not just the fact that Patrick Mahomes is going to get his 4th Super Bowl. The fact that they're on the verge of three-peating, which hasn't been done in the Super Bowl era. How much weight does that hold when it comes to? And this goes across the board. Like greatest team of all time, greatest coach of all time, greatest tight end, greatest quarterback. Like where does this go in these conversations? Like three-peating.
Another argument.
No one has done that before. Like how much weight does that hold?
None.
Really? Tell
Wow.
me why.
Wow.
Because
It works with it.
because there is so much that goes into like winning like a Super Bowl, like the one that they won against the Eagles, one flag against a holding call. It's one small play like that. The Patriots Super Bowl, like we could have easily lost the Falcons Super Bowl. We should have lost the Falcons
And the
Super Bowl.
Seahawks won.
And well, yeah, I have another.
Can we talk
I'm
about the
gonna
ones you shouldn't have
on.
lost?
no, they should have. They should like they should have handed the ball off, obviously. But people blow that up. They don't realize the circumstances. Just real quick on that, there was one
Here we
time
go,
the
here we
Seahawks
go.
had one timeout, and there was 25 seconds left.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, just give the ball to Marshawn. Okay, well you can only do that once,
Right.
Because you have one timeout. So it's like people are like, oh, well, you just would have given him.
Yeah.
We could have stuffed him on one play. They would have had to call their timeout, and they had one play left. So my whole point is people were like, oh, they would have had to just given the ball to Marshawn 4 times, and he would have scored. It's not necessarily a given. Obviously, we shouldn't have won that Super Bowl. But my whole point is that like I just don't think the 3-peat matters that much. I mean, it's truly impressive, but like I don't know. To me, like the Chiefs in the all regular season, do you know there's only 3 teams that didn't score more than 30 points this year in the regular season?
Chiefs.
Patriots, the Jaguars, and the Chiefs.
Yeah.
You know, like they won a lot of close games based off of ridiculous calls or really close plays or whatever. And it's like, you know, that's just how football is.
But you're deflecting, 3-peating. Like, let's put this in perspective. Like in the ultimate team sport, like it's different in basketball. It's even different in soccer. Because in basketball and soccer, like you can have 1 or 2 guys that can really change things. If you don't have a team, like we point to the quarterbacks, but like you said, Tom Brady or someone said, Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes don't play one-on-one. It's a whole team effort. In order to 3-peat in a sport that is so reliant, like look at the Bills, for example. They're 13 seconds away. Their defense didn't hold up in 13 seconds. And Tyler Bass missed a game-winning field goal last year. Like they're literally like 2 bad teammates away from going to the Super Bowl and maybe even winning it. Just how ridiculous it is. And like you were saying, like Chiefs have kind of already rebuilt in a way. Last year, everyone was like, yeah, they can't win the Super Bowl. This year, starting the season, like everyone was saying, you can't keep winning close games. You're going to lose in the playoffs. They're in the Super Bowl again, and no one's betting against them now because we've just seen that there's just something about the Chiefs.
Hold on. I feel like I was listening to something earlier today. It's like the Chiefs have been so stingy with trading their draft picks that they might, like, as long as they make good selections, they still might be good for for the foreseeable future too. And like obviously having Marquise Hollywood Brown and Top and making some good acquisitions there obviously doesn't hurt. They're not young, but
But I just think it's wild to say that a 3-peat's not going to matter.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy.
Never
been done in the
when you
Super
think
Bowl
of
era.
3-peats, you think of Michael Jordan and doing it twice. Like that's to me.
Has
That's
LeBron
still,
even 3-peated? Exactly. And they won that over LeBron.
I mean,
This is why we're going to debate LeBron and Michael till we're all dead. Our kids are going to debate them.
I'm curious what Jared has to say about it. Honestly.
Yeah, you haven't talked in a little while here, bud.
Yeah, I was
let's
just going to say, well, so I really started watching football in the last like 8 years, like pretty religiously. For me, like the fact that I'm watching Patrick Mahomes doing it in the AFC, it's Joe Burrow, it's Josh Allen, it's Lamar Jackson. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I can't remember who Tom Brady had to go through like a gauntlet like that to Peyton Manning.
That's one guy. He just
talking
about
Joe
guys. Okay, get out of here.
Is Joe Flacco
The Ravens had an elite defense.
Joe Flacco a Hall
Ben
of Famer?
Roethlisberger.
He's all favorite. Throw him in there. All right, cool.
I mean, but like that's
compare
the thing. You
those
don't even
three
know them because you never made it to the Super Bowl.
But to Jared's
what I'm
point,
saying.
like
let him make the point.
Go.
What I was just gonna say is like I still think that Patrick Mahomes is going against these guys who would be on this level of like eliteness had it not be for Patrick Mahomes.
Facts.
Like they're if Patrick Mahomes was on the NFC side, we would see Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson in the Super Bowl every single year, or Joe Burrow every single year. But the fact that they have to go up against the GOAT in some people's mind, Patrick Mahomes, they're never going to get their Super Bowl. I see that point of it. I look at it from the other perspective where it's like, I almost feel like we put Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow on too much of a pedestal.
That's fair.
They haven't won anything. Like everybody thinks
Especially
Josh Allen is
Joe Burrow.
amazing, and it's like they can't beat this one guy. And I get that, like he is not like I just read the stats. He does not play phenomenal. He doesn't have these ridiculous passing guard games. He doesn't play great. Like they just like against the Bills. The Bills just don't play their regular offense. They're conservative, and then they lose the game. And
I'm honestly sick of people like Josh Allen and Joe Burrow because it's
Yeah.
like,
I
just win a game. Like, just
Yeah.
win a game. At the end of the day, win a game. And
I
you
mean,
can't.
Joe Burrow did beat Patrick
He did,
Mahomes, so
yeah.
it's like, but then he didn't obviously
but
pull it
like,
out in
what's
the
he
end.
done since? You know,
Right.
they haven't even
So
made the playoffs
Yeah,
2
but
Yeah,
I
years.
what
mean,
have
he
you
had a
done for me
phenomenal
lately?
I
I mean, he
know.
did
No,
everything.
that's what I was
Possibly
about to say.
could.
He should have won the
Yeah.
MVP if they were in the playoffs for sure.
Yeah.
But like Josh Allen, right? While I agree with you, what you were saying about like he doesn't have phenomenal games and like in the playoffs, I wouldn't say choked. Like he's had good games in the playoffs. But like how different his career would be and how we talk. Like we obviously already glorify him to like MVP status in the league. But like if it wasn't for Mahomes, he would probably been at least 2 Super Bowls by now. Probably won, let's say one of them. Been to like, a bunch of AFC championship games. There's already been 2 even with Mahomes there, which is like how differently his career specifically would be without Mahomes. It's something crazy to think about for sure.
Yeah, I get that argument too, Jared. But like, that's the whole thing. Like, you guys talk about Peyton Manning being one, but like, Peyton Manning's considered for some reason like one of the greatest quarterbacks of all
I
time.
don't understand that, to be
Not
honest.
one Super Bowl with the Colts. Obviously, won the
Yeah.
one with the Broncos.
We're
when he
not
was old.
talking Peyton Manning. We're
But like,
talking.
people consider him as one of the greatest quarterbacks, and I'm
Yeah.
like, Brady beat him every year.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, but it was still tough. And I know you guys joke about Joe Flacco, but the Ravens defense with Ray Lewis and
Yeah.
Terrell Suggs, like they were
That was insane.
gauntlet. Those were the teams.
Yeah.
Usually, if we lost in the AFC, it was either to the Ravens or it was to the Colts or occasionally the Steelers.
Yeah.
But
This conversation, personally, I don't know about you guys, but it's definitely like a one side or the other conversation. In my personal opinion, I think Patrick Mahomes will end up being the GOAT because just what he's been able to do in such a short time at the beginning of his career. And let's be honest, I don't see Patrick Mahomes going 10 years without even getting to a Super Bowl.
well, here's the other thing about that I agree with. I mean, I would be dumb to say that like he is not. If he continues his pace right now, he's obviously on track to win like 12 Super Bowls.
Right.
The question is that going to happen? And my answer to that is I don't like. You have to take into
The
account
number
the
isn't
way
12.
that
It's
he plays.
7.
Right, I get that. But like, how does Patrick Mahomes play? He scrambles, he gets out of the pocket, he runs, he moves. He can't do that when he's 32.
Longevity, yeah.
Tom Brady adjusted his play. Tom Brady ate avocado ice cream when he was 25 years old and didn't drink beer. Like he put such tip-top care of his shape of his body and made sure he was in such good shape that he was able to play until he was 45.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Patrick Mahomes doesn't take care of his body, but like I don't think he's on that level. And his play style, like he's honestly like not. This is kind of blasphemous to say about Patrick Mahomes, but he kind of plays like Russell Wilson did in his prime. Like he scrambles in the pocket to get open, make passes or scramble. How long is he going to be able to do that effectively when he's 34 years old? He's going to be older. I think that is another part that people are just like, oh, he's going to play like Tom Brady did till he was 45. But
Yeah.
it's like, no, he's gonna start to denigrate. And the question is, when is that gonna really start? Because even Brady, I mean, Brady hit a cliff where he started not playing as well, but he was still able to play well enough to win a Super Bowl because of how he played.
I do think that's at least some of his, let's call it a decline, at least in his numbers the last 2-3 years, has to do with, their offensive coordinator. I do think Andy Reid was most of the plays and everything, but I saw like a comparison of like when he had Bieniemy up until like I think it was 2 years ago when they hired this new guy. But now they've had Nagy 2 seasons, and that's when like basically all of his numbers started to drop off. And like maybe that's, I'm not saying it's like everything. I do agree with your point. Like, I think there's going to be a decline at some point. At some point, he's going to have to kind of change, how he plays. But I don't think that like wouldn't put him in the scrambling quarterback category. I think he runs when he has to. But I definitely don't think that he runs as much as he even used to when he was, first 3-4 years in the league. Where I actually like the Chiefs like early on when it was like Kelsey and him, like just like backyard football, like unpredictable kind of vibe. Obviously, they've kind of gotten away from that some, but we'll see how he's
But
going
to
to
me,
able
it's
to
like it's not
reinvent
even
himself.
it's not scrambling though. It's not like he breaks the line of scrimmage and runs. He just maneuvers in the pocket and gets
Yeah.
open off the like that's what
Yep.
Russell Wilson used.
No, I
He
agree.
would just
Right.
get open. Brady didn't do that. If he would like throw the ball, if he didn't, he would just take the sack.
Yeah.
Like that's the part where it's tough to do that when you're 34. It takes
Yep.
agility. But
But I also
we'll
think
see.
that like obviously their bodies are very different, but like just the sports science that we have nowadays making guys play a lot longer. Like I don't know if you guys saw the quarterback documentary, but like the different exercises that he does to like make sure that he's so agile and able to like make these like crazy throws and everything. Like I don't think that like I'm not saying you're saying like I don't think he's just like sitting on the couch when he's not practicing, like not preparing for any of that. Like then like maybe he doesn't even want to play till he's 40. Like, maybe he's okay with what he does, 10 years from now.
Maybe he
But
actually loves his wife.
yeah, we'll see. But
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see, I guess.
Yeah, no, definitely. Good conversation, definitely surrounding the Super Bowl. It'll be interesting to watch and see. Obviously, Peter won't be watching. But that's gonna do it for this Super Bowl preview.
Don't you have a Luka jersey?
I have a shirt. Yeah.
Sure.
What'd you say?
So we gotta wait. Hit record before we start talking about
We've
this.
been recording.
Oh, just kidding.
We just got it.
Okay.
All right.
I said a naughty word.
All right. Why do I have all these tabs open?
Yeah, I have a crap ton because I was just like,
Good stuff up.
yeah.
Through.
Stats.
All right, everybody ready?
Yep.
All righty. To wrap up the podcast here, we're going to spend just a little bit of time on the NBA because we had some blockbuster moves going down in the NBA. Bunch of trades really today. I saw a bunch go down, but we'll get into that maybe a little bit next week unless we have some absolutely pressing ones we need to talk about. But the big one happened Saturday or I think it was Friday night actually. Friday, Saturday? Anyway, it doesn't matter. This past weekend was Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers in exchange for Anthony Davis. There are some other scrubs included in the deal, but they don't really matter because they've probably already been traded. And
Hey,
then
don't do my boy Max Christie like that. He's from University of Minnesota. That's my boy.
So he'll get released soon.
Exactly. Rep it.
He has a twin, doesn't he?
His older brother. Yeah.
Anyway,
Who knows that? Like,
These two.
this guy's an Oklahoma State fan. He's like, doesn't that guy
Peter,
from Minnesota
Peter,
have a
it's
brother?
because
You have the two construction guys and then the finance guys. It's showing
Well,
itself.
Sam's brain's like my dad's.
it's
Like,
because
he
I
just remembered-
recently watched a video with them saying like brothers that are in NBA.
Okay,
So
I could have watched that video yesterday. Would have forgot.
I was literally watching stuff on the way here. None of that has been
Yep.
put into the podcast. At
anyway,
here,
back
out the other.
to the original subject here. Luka Doncic going to the Los Angeles Lakers in exchange for Anthony Davis and a first-round pick. What were you guys' initial reactions here? Obviously, massive news. Trading a 25-year-old, I still consider to be young, for an aging superstar in Anthony Davis. We will start with Jared.
Dude, the Mavericks are dumb. Like, I don't know how I could put this in like a better picture, but like if I woke up Sunday morning and saw that Anthony Edwards had been traded, like I would be losing my mind.
Yeah.
Like that's what I think the
Still doesn't
Mavericks.
feel real.
It doesn't. Like this is something you see on 2K, bro. Like something
Yeah.
like somebody was making this trade and it's like, is this gonna be accepted? And that still probably wouldn't happen in 2K.
It
They
didn't.
won't,
Someone-
they won't let it.
Someone
Yeah.
did. Someone like
Okay.
at like an hour
My
after
point
having it
exactly.
hopped on 2K. They were
Yeah.
like Luka for AD. Nah. Vetoed.
Exactly. That's my point. Like that's how crazy this trade was. Like it's
Nuts.
I've never seen anything like it.
Break down why it's crazy for those who, let's say, don't necessarily watch basketball.
So you're trading away a superstar, 25-year-old superstar who's given you a chance in the playoffs every single year. Then finals this last year, right? You're basically giving away about the next decade of your franchise and throwing it down the tank and saying, okay, AD gives us a better chance in the near future. And of course the Lakers were like, yeah, we'll take that. We'll take that. Like,
Yeah.
we'll take the next 10 years of being, competitive.
It's like the
and
face of the league for the
face of
next
league,
10
potentially.
All
Like
right.
that's what's so crazy about this trade to me is they really think that Anthony Davis is going to give him a better chance. And if you see the interview that the GM does, he's like,
Awkward.
like he's like, we're probably not going to be here at the next 10 years, but like the next
Such
4
a
years
bad
at
thing
least.
to say right
Like,
after
you
that,
don't say
too.
that, dude. So it's just like there's a lot of like, this is a guy. I don't know if he's on a power trip or whatever, but like, I mean, there's already even speculation. This one is like, is he like a freaking secret agent, like trying to just give away,
Yeah.
And so I
Maybe.
don't know. There's things like that. I'm like, I don't know.
One thing I do know about the GM is like he's only been there like 2, maybe 3 years, and I follow the Mavericks because of Luka, but like I've seen things like progressively throughout the years that like kind of makes sense now. Like ever since he's gotten in the building, like everybody that Luka liked, he's gotten rid of, whether it be players, whether it be like his nutrition people. Obviously, that's funny because obviously into that in a second. His nutrition people, his like Slovenian like crew or whatever that he had in the organization there. He got rid of like every single one of those guys. And like obviously now that he's traded him, maybe like some kind of power trip, maybe may have been something personal against Luka, maybe something against Europeans. Like who the heck knows with this guy? And like
Sounds
I
like
think
Peter.
it's-
Yeah.
Whoa.
It
My
just
best
sounds.
friend in all of college was from Romania, okay?
It's
Okay.
also sounds like he didn't come from like the NBA circles at all. Like just some random sales rep at Nike, like inserted into the organization. But
Yeah,
anyways,
I don't know. It's just there's so many questions. And I think I even heard that Nico Harrison and Anthony Davis, they go way back somehow, like they're connected. And so this is Nico Harrison, like, oh, this level of Anthony Davis, I know I can get this out of him. But I don't know. I just remember the years when even before he went to the Lakers, of he was kind of just this melancholy, like he was a really good superstar on a really bad team, and just to kind of motivate him, like he had LeBron to motivate him to play in these games. Like now he's gonna have like more of an excuse to not play, and you're gonna see I think more of like injury prone kind of come out of him. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but
yeah,
only
for
time will tell. But I just so far this trade just seems screams the Lakers won this by landslide.
yeah. For context, the reasoning that was given by the GM and the Mavericks was that Luka was too out of shape and that they wanted to focus more on defense and guys that could be on the court more often. Which, if you know anything about Anthony Davis, he's literally like the biggest meme there is in the NBA as far as guys not being able to stay healthy outside of what, maybe Joel Embiid,
Kawhi Leonard too. Now
Kawhi
I'd say,
Leonard.
yeah.
Yeah. So like just so many things don't don't make sense about this trade. Who they traded for and Anthony Davis, and like obviously he's aging and everything. It just doesn't make too much sense. But we'll swing it over to maybe a Luca doubter and Peter Hicks. What was your initial? We were actually on the game
Yeah,
together.
that was crazy.
He's actually the one that dude, look at your phone. I was like, I was on Do Not Disturb, I think. And I was like, what's going on? And like, I was like, no freaking.
Did you
way.
believe it when it happened?
Well, it was wild because we were playing games late at night. What was it, Saturday night?
Yeah, it was
like
midnight.
midnight or whatever. And like we were just in the middle of a game or something. And
We're about
I
to
look
get
at my
off.
phone. Yeah, and my dad just sent me a text and he was like, "Can you believe the trade?" And I like scrolled like two. My dad's like, "I'm like, Dad, why are you up at 12:30 on a Saturday night?" But anyways, like I scroll down like and it's ESPN notification. It's like blockbuster trade. Like Luka Doncic goes to the Lakers, and I was like, I know Sam like hates LeBron and the Lakers, so I was like, dude, look at your phone. Like I should have just told you then, but I was like, he's not gonna
I wouldn't
believe
have
me.
believed
Yeah, he
you.
would have been
No
like,
way.
no way, dude. Because I remember the other news that we broke together was when I told you we were together when Kobe died.
Yeah.
We were both like
We were
we were both
napping.
like napping on a Sunday afternoon
Whoa, together?
in
What?
our bedrooms
Whoa.
or whatever, and I literally was like,
That was
bro,
Us, bro.
Kobe died. And he was like, what? No, he didn't.
You say
So
it
I
like
literally
that?
said that.
literally, I was like, dude.
I remember because you always remember like where you are and exactly what happens and those kind of things. I literally said,
Yeah.
dude, no way, no, he didn't.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, look. And then I looked at my phone
Yeah.
and I was like,
But anyways, like, yeah, so I told Sam about it. Yeah, I mean, it's a dumb trade for the Mavericks. It's dumb. But I think I can also I can see the perspective that the Mavericks had at the same time. And the main reason for me is if you watch the finals last year, the defensive performance that Luka Doncic put out was atrocious. I mean, he couldn't stay in front of anybody. He just gave up on plays. It looked like he didn't have energy. But to me, the real thing that was like, and obviously his conditioning. Sam and I talked about this like, years ago when Luka was first starting to take off, and I used to say to him all the time, like over and over, I was like, if he gets his body in shape, he's gonna be unstoppable. If he turns into a LeBron, like the way he can shoot.
Facts.
But then I would also say Luka looks like a guy who drinks Mountain Dew every day and is like lumberjack for a day, for like a daily job. Like that's just what he looks like.
Yeah.
He doesn't look in shape. And he just never got to that point where it seemed like he really took his body seriously. And again, like that's up to him. Like if he wants to just dominate and drop 30 and not be in shape, like I can't do that. Like good for you. Like go for it. He might not care about, winning a championship as much enough to put his body in that situation. I still agree it's a dumb trade. Like you don't in the NBA in the past, it's been you need to have a top 5 star in the league in order to win. But I think last year the Celtics really changed that and shook that up because I wouldn't say that Jason Tatum was a top 5 player in the NBA. He didn't even win the NBA final. MVP, you know what I'm saying? Like the Celtics kind of showed that like you can build a championship team off of drafting and defense.
But they're also their starting lineup. They had like pretty much everybody
All-stars,
were
every
all-stars.
But they don't have a top 5 NBA player. Like, and that's how it used to
But
be.
they
It's
had
like, you
their-
needed a LeBron.
they
You
had
needed
so
a
much
Steph
depth.
Curry. and it's so much depth. Like
That's what I'm saying, though. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're a team like the Mavericks and you've got a guy
You're
who's
looking at
And
that,
teams
yeah.
that had
much.
first team All-NBA like 2 or 3 years
The
in a row.
crazy thing
Like,
to me is the fact that they didn't get more picks. Like, they just traded him
Right,
away
it
for
was
like
straight up.
literally like
That's
that's
what I'm
that
saying.
if
that's
they
what
had got a
makes no
haul
sense,
on
dude.
picks, I would
Yeah.
have been.
And another thing that, like, was a conspiracy theorist, Nico Harrison didn't shop him. Obviously, it's one thing to say that, if he shopped him around, the vitriol he would have received, even trying to trade him down would have been insurmountable probably. But the fact that he only went to the Lakers and was like, "Hey, give us Anthony Davis, we'll give you Luka," like, that just
But I think it's because
screams.
he wanted Anthony Davis. He
Well,
wanted
that's
a
another
defense.
why?
Well,
It's
they already
32
have,
and
and they already have so many
They
bigs. They got Gafford,
they
they
have
got
Gafford
Lively.
and Lively.
So it's
Yeah,
like,
but Anthony
be honest-
Davis also wanted to play his original position. He wanted to play the 4 because he's been playing the 5 with the Lakers for so long. But
my personal opinion, I think that he panicked a little bit because I think he went into that wanting Anthony Davis, and I think he wanted Austin Reeves. I think he wanted another like that, and I think that Felica was willing to give him that, and I think he panicked and was kind of like, "Oh, well, if this rumor gets
Now I
out, like I'm gonna
yeah,
look like an idiot."
maybe.
He was like, "I got to make it trade." So I think he panicked a little bit. And I think
That's
he
true.
wanted Austin. Everybody was like, "You should have got."
But dude, even if you get Anthony Davis and Austin Reeves, you still require 3 firsts, don't connect, like whoever the frick they traded after that, like you
I
just
mean,
get
freaking
half
Rudy
their
Gobert got
team.
7 draft. Like we had a
Mikal
GM
Bridges
7.
got 5 firsts last
Like that's what I'm saying.
season.
Like you could have truly like. There's so much more that they could have. And I know like with the KD situation, I don't know if you heard about that, but like there's been like rumors that he was going to get shipped, even at the end of the trade deadline, and now he's kind of like thick about it. I know they didn't want that situation to happen, but like you still at least ask a couple more people than just the Lakers and be like, can we get some more draft picks? Because you obviously have some.
The real clip that was really telling, I think you probably have seen this. I don't know if you guys have seen. I'm sure you have, but like last year, in the Western Conference Finals, there was that clip where like they had just won and Luka's like sitting in like the hallway. He's drinking a beer.
Yeah.
And the guy comes in, the one of the owners, whoever, and he just takes it from him. Now, to me, that video says so much because, like, for instance, like Sloan, if you were like telling me one day, like, hey, I drink a lot of sweet tea, like, I really want to lose weight though, like,
Yeah.
this is something I committed. We talked about it. That's something that's like, if we were out and you were drinking a sweet tea, like, I would just, if I was a good friend, I'd just go up and take it from you, and you would understand. You wouldn't say a word, like, you would know. But if we had never had a conversation like that, it just came out of the blue. I just come and took your drink. You'd be like, dude, what the heck is wrong with you? That video shows that there was lots and lots of conversations that they had about you have to take your body seriously. You have to take it seriously. And I think he just didn't care. And I think the Mavericks got really sick of it. And again, I'm not saying it's a good trade. I think that he was done with it and he was sick of it and he just wanted somebody who was serious. But
So what I'll say about the whole the weight stuff, I've never disagreed that he's obviously out of shape. He's like, but I will say, like, while this isn't like necessarily excusing him, like his most tubby I've ever seen him was like 2 years ago. Like last year he was hurt like throughout the playoffs. I think that had a lot to do with why he wasn't trying on defense too. And like after they were down 3-0, the one game that they did win in the finals, like he was playing decent defense. So like he was showing that he could at least be a cone instead of like, just nothing. So I feel like that, like, and like the thing with the nutrition too, like obviously, yes, he's never taken his body seriously. If you show people pictures of like where he was when he was a rookie and what he is now, obviously it's different. But like, if you look at him like right now, like after the trade, like a lot of people are saying like that doesn't look like a guy who's out of shape. Like obviously he's big, he's like 6'7", whatever he is. But like currently speaking, like he's not that bad compared to like let's say where he was. Like the defense thing, I completely understand. He's like he doesn't play defense at all, but like the amount of minimal effort that you got from him in the playoffs, even though he was on one leg just this past year, but like the year before that as well. I feel like you live with like the rest of you live with that if you have a player that is offensively as good as he is, and like I said, he's offensively he's generational. He can put up 35, 8 and 8 every single night. I just feel like the Mavericks organization, now that they've traded Luka, if they do not win a championship this year or next, they're absolutely cooked. There's no way to think that. And like they put all of their chips on the table for a 32-year-old Anthony Davis. Who, by the way, I think it's so ironic. He was literally injured when they traded for him. Like he can't play for like another week. How old is Klay Thompson? 32, 33, same boat. Kyrie Irving, 30-something-year-old as well. So, like, if they don't win, like, this year or next, they're gonna have to blow it up. There's questions about, like, Kyrie Irving even, like, wanting out after this year, as well, just because, like, he was really good boys with Luka, like, maybe how he doesn't see himself with Anthony Davis. So I just think it's such a dumb move. Like, I understand all of, like, the Luka's not in shape and everything, but, like, even if, like, that's frustration, like, you're talking about, like, potential all-time great, at least in Mavericks. Like, so, like, who have the Mavericks ever had except for Dirk? Dirk has a statue in front of the stadium, and Luka should have one too in 10 years when he wanted to stay his whole career with the Mavericks as well, which I think, like, those things, I kinda understand a little bit of the nutrition and, like, "Oh, he can't stay," but I just, all things considered, I just think that's such a weak
It's
argument.
kind of a cop out.
It
Yeah,
is a cop-out.
I would just say,
So
like, it kind of reminds me of there was a lot of, like, speculation with Jokic, dude. Like, when he was, like, not taking his, like, body seriously, like, he was a little bit chunkier, and that was kind of, like, the earlier parts of his career. Like, I see a lot of similarities between
say Jokic is fat.
I mean, yeah, but yeah, still, and even just, like, the mindset of, like, maybe he doesn't really his heart or his mind's not completely in it, like, he just wants to race horses, in the off season or whatever. Like, I think that's why people are mind boggled by this trade is because even though Jokic probably doesn't love basketball like as like his number one thing, he still won a championship. He was like one of the top 3 players in the league. That's what everybody was seeing for Doncic. Like, he's going to be a top 5 player. He is a top 5 player, I think, in the league. And whether or not his heart and mind is completely in it, I think he still gives you a really good shot every single year to win the championship because he is that generational talent. And so I think the fact that they traded him away, and like you said, the Mavericks haven't had anybody besides Dirk. Like, this guy had statue written all over it, like from the beginning of his career. So that's why people are so mind boggled by this.
Yeah, and another thing too, like, and I said this on the emergency pod as well, like, the fact that they've spent the last 2, 3 years, like, building a team basically around Luka Doncic and playing to his strengths, to his weaknesses. Obviously, the big men that they've got, they're lob specialists who play a crap ton of defense. PJ Wash and all those guys, like, they're all defensive guys to the point where, like, obviously they made the finals last year. Like, it was good enough then. Like, why not? Like, you just made the finals. Like, run it back again. And the last thing I'll say is that I think it's, like, ridiculous. Again, this just adds another layer to it. Is, like, when they drafted Luka Doncic, they were, like, in the dumps. Like, even though Dirk was still hanging on, like, they weren't winning more than 30 games a year. Like, they weren't even stiffing the playoffs. Obviously, he made them relevant again, and then, like, he's made a couple playoffs and, like, those series against the Clippers early on in his career where he was sinking, like, crazy game winners during COVID and, like, he was the reason that those teams were even, like, relevant. Like, there's players on those teams, bro. Like, guys you've never even heard of are out of the league now for sure. And he made those guys relevant. And then now that he finally has a team that can compete with, like, Kyrie and, like, obviously the 2 centers I had talked about, and, they finally got Clay who, he can pass him open like probably no one else in the league can, except for maybe LeBron or Steph maybe. But, like, now that he finally has a team, you're gonna trade him. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Steph, any last thoughts? Nothing? You got nothing? Well, I think that's the pod, Sammy. Well, we appreciate you guys coming on. It means the world to us. And if this goes well, we're going to have you guys back on again. Maybe this is the pod where we all blow up because they just love how we just ripped each other apart because, hey, that gets views on YouTube, apparently. It gets the clicks. But we appreciate you guys for tuning in, sticking with us. Thank you for tuning into this special episode, having these 2 guests on. Again, we appreciate these guys immensely. But check us out on all our platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Like and subscribe. Leave a comment, and we will catch you guys on the next one. Peace. Appreciate it, guys.